welcome back to my channel. So today's probably gonna be a relatively quick update. I spent the week working on a couple of different things. So I was working on the skirt for Scarlett O'Hara, which I'm using this truly Victorian pattern, which will be somewhere, and it looks deceptively easy. Like, look at that pattern. That's like some gathers and some box pleats. It looks so easy. However, it's like 17 panels, and I was trying to do it without having a hoop skirt because I didn't have the crinoline created. And it turns out I miscalculated and I was missing one panel from that bottom section. So I was trying to follow the math and mark out all the box pleats so they lined up with the seams of the top part of the skirt, and it wasn't working. So I'm like, the math is all wrong. So then I remasked it, and it was just all wrong. And then I found a panel piece that I apparently forgot to sew in, so I had to undo everything, add that in, and then I finally got the box pleats to work with only one section being a little off, but it'll be fine. I'm okay with that. But then I had to stop once I had the top part of the skirt sewn together, and then the bottom part of the skirt I had to stop. Oh, and I don't know why. I think maybe it's because it's velvet, but the top part of the skirt, my hem is just not hemming. It's not working well at all. So I am going to do that probably by hand on the mannequin over the hoop skirt. So I just sort of stopped on all that and moved on to the hoop skirt when my material finally arrived. I don't know if it's probably a little visible. So then I spent the rest of the week working on the crinoline, and it's fine for my first time ever making one of these. I'm okay with it. It's okay. I think it'll be fine for Scarlett O'Hara, but I was hoping to double this over if I didn't win for Sakizo. So if I didn't take any sort of place or award at Dragon Con, then I was going to reuse some of these pieces for the understructure of Sakizo. However, I've decided Sakizo needs to be bigger. So the hoop pattern I used is also from Truly Victorian. It does a 26-inch hoop. I'm slightly concerned because the skirt that I did was a 120-inch skirt. However, there's a lot of, I don't know, extra fabric, so my hope is it'll still fit over this. I have not tested it yet, so we will see. If it doesn't, I'm just going to take the hoops down so that the understructure works for the skirt. But it was so strange. I did the Truly Victorian 1860s dress bundle where you can choose a bodice, you can choose a skirt, and then you can choose your petticoat, your hoop skirt, and then you get a little bit of a discount if you bundle it all together. The only crinoline they had for the time period is this one over here, but it doesn't match any of the circumference of the skirt. So that was a little weird, but I'm really hoping it'll be fine. But I'm not afraid to take the hoops down if I need to. I'm also missing 3 hoops. I'm missing 3 hoops because I apparently miscalculated when I was going from inches to meters, and I ordered not enough hoop boning. So I ordered some more yesterday. It takes over 2 weeks to get here because I imported it from Canada, because it's the only place that I could find with 9/16 inch wide steel hoop boning. So all that to say, we're getting there. And I purposely chose to use some of the boning for the upper part and the bottom part, so I think I can still make the petticoat, throw that on over it, and then put the skirt and throw it on over it, and still like move forward without having those last 3 bones, because I don't think it will alter the shape too terribly. And I'm concerned that those words will come back to bite me, but that is my thought, and I'm just going to move forward. So progress has been made. Now I'm going to move on to the petticoat, make that, throw it on, and then put the skirt on, and then do a little handwork for that. And then The main part of Scarlett will be mostly done. I'm still iffy on hand making my grommets in the back of the bodice or using metal grommets. Metal grommets are not historically accurate. It's like having your bra strap showing is how I read about it not too long ago, but it really depends on timing. So if I run out of time, then I'm just going to have to use metal grommets. But so that'll be finished, and I think after that, once I make the petticoat and get the skirt done, then I'm going to move on to the dress that's going over this. I'll start with the bodice and work my way that way. I'm just hoping that this hoop skirt can hold up to the weight of the velvet and the additional dress. So we'll see. But for Sakizo, I'm already sort of sourcing some materials and planning out what I want to do with that. So that skirt, I've decided, needs to be bigger than this one. I would love to make it monstrously bigger, but unfortunately, my studio is relatively small, and the 120-inch circumference for this Scarlett skirt is taking up quite a lot of space. So I'm thinking I might just go up maybe another 10 inches and then call it, but I'll play around with it and see. With that though, I'm going to have to make a ton of adjustments on this pattern that I got from Truly Victorian, so I think I'm just going to draft my own for the hoop skirt. I kind of understand, I think, the structure and why the bones are the way they are and where they're placed. So yeah, I think given the weight of the Sakizo skirt, I'm just going to draft up my own pattern. I've made a lot of conclusions from the Truly Victorian pattern. I followed it step by step the way I'm supposed to because that's how I learn a pattern. But at the end of this, I would have made many changes. For instance, the opening to slide the hoops in, they have that in the center front. I would put that in the back. I just don't like the idea of this. Because it's where you put the bones in, there's a section that doesn't have the boning stitching through it. I would put that in the back because it looks different than the rest of the bottom part of the crinoline. So I would move that to the back. They also had it to where you put the boning in. So you create what's called the bag, which is like the bottom 7 or 8 inches, and that contains 4 bonings, and then the rest of the boning is in individual hoops that go through vertical ribbons. So the way that they had that is first you put in the bottom bonings, and then you put the rest of the hoops into bone casing, and then you slide those through the ribbon, and then you put the belt on top. I wouldn't do it that way. I would actually attach everything together. So one issue I ran into, I know this is a little scattered, I'm just sort of explaining it the way the thoughts are coming, so hopefully this makes sense. But so I bought the exact size bone casing they said to use for these hoop bones. They fit perfectly. However, I also bought hoop connectors, which are these metal little things that you just slide the bones into, and you can kind of squish them down a little bit to keep it taut. Those are a little thicker than the bones, so those don't fit into the casing at all. So I had to like cut away part of the casing, so I have this exposed metal piece that I need to cover up. They had it to where you cut your boning and then you overlap it by 4 inches and then like tape or secure it in some sort of way, but that's wasting 4 inches of boning. So I cut everything to measure, and then I had to cut off 4 inches from every piece of bone because I was using a different connector than the instructions said. So I would just cut everything 4 inches shorter and maybe have enough boning to do one more hoop. And then I would have sewn everything together. So I would put the bag on, I would have attached all the vertical ribbons, and then I would have taken the same ribbon that I use for the vertical pieces and made my own boning channels because they're wider than the bone casing. so they'll fit the boning connectors. So I would have just stitched all of that together, like slid it all together and tacked it all into place, because right now things can shift around, like the vertical ribbons can move around on the hoops. It did say you can tack it if you want, but you don't have to, so that's just like an optional step. I would stitch all of this together, including attaching it to the belt, then put that on my mannequin, and then slide the hoops through, because when you're working in a space that's as small as mine, so this may just be a me issue, but it was really hard to slide the bonings into the crinoline without like knocking stuff over, and then the ribbons would shift and wind up all over the place, so then things wound up looking weird, and then I'd have to fix. It was just a lot of effort, it felt like, compared to if I just hung it up on the mannequin. I could have slid everything through, had everything already secured so nothing shifts, and then I don't know, I just think that would have been easier. So I'm gonna make my own crinoline pattern and write up some instructions, I think, and I think I'll share it somewhere, because specifically for Sakizo, because it is going to be different. There's going to be more boning channels. I'm going to use smaller boning just because I can actually get 1/2 inch boning from Amazon versus importing 9/16 inch from Canada. There's going to be a lot there. So I'm just going to, for Sakizo, make a whole new one, make it bigger, and make it black, because I like the idea of the crinoline being black with the Sakizo. So it's mostly done. Oh, I also used belting ribbon from Farthingales, and it just is not sturdy enough to handle the weight of this crinoline. This thing is heavy, and it's still missing 3 pieces of boning, so it's heavy. And so I'm actually swapping out, for the Sakizo one, I'm going to swap out the top belt for an actual leather belt that can withstand the weight of the steel. Lots and lots of changes coming for Sakizo. I'm kind of sad I won't be able to double this over if it doesn't win, but that's probably for the best. I consider this more or less a mock-up at the moment, just because it's my first try. It's not the cleanest thing in the world, and I will remake it if I have time before Dragon Con, but I'm not super concerned about it, because I think the rest of the dress is a little more important than this, but at least it's structurally sound and it's going to give me the right shape. So that was my week, fighting with steel boning and working on a skirt that took me way too long to figure out. So this weekend and next week will just be petticoat and finishing the skirt and moving on to the overdress, which I'm actually really excited to make. I found this beautiful fabric that's like this tan beige fabric with, not to go down the millennial beige route, but it is like a beige tannish kind of fabric, but it has violet stripes in it. It kind of looks like weird wallpaper, but I think it's perfect for an 1860s working dress, because the scene that I'm thinking of is a transformation from like a simpler gown that she uses, every day to keep up her homestead, to this ball gown. So I wanted something to be like very like stark against it. So striped pattern, plainer colors, and then rip it off into this deep velvet green curtain dress. So I think it's going to be really pretty if I can pull it off. So yeah, I will say, like, I've more or less lost my motivation right now, because I just want to move on to the next thing that's inspiring me, which is that Sakizo build. And this is one of the problems with me and how I work. I do my best work when I'm motivated, and I think that's why I'm running into some complications with Scarlett O'Hara. I mean, to be fair, I am doing a lot of things that I've never done before. I've never made my own, like, crinoline, my own hoop skirt. I've never done that before. I've never made 1860s dresses. So, like, it makes sense to run into problems and have difficulty and it not be as good as I want it to be. But at the same time, I know my focus is starting to slip a little. And that also causes additional issues. So I'm trying to pull myself back, finish this, because I was very excited to make an 1860s dress. So, like, focus. And then move on to Sakizo. So to sort of quell the anxiety I have to just get started on my next project, in my downtime, I'm sourcing materials for Sakizo and getting a list together and trying to put a budget together. So it feels like I'm doing the preliminary work for my Sakizo build, which will be wonderful because that means as soon as I finish Scarlett, I can immediately start on Sakizo. I should start calling it by its name. I think her name is Guiletta, and I should probably read the book so I can understand exactly what I'm building. It's just all in Japanese, and I have to use my Google Translate on my phone to read it, and for some weird reason, it makes me nauseous. So it's just something I haven't done yet, but maybe I'll do that this weekend. So that's my update for this week. I do have a lot of travel coming up in July. I think I've mentioned it before. I'm gonna go on vacation for a while, which is needed. I haven't been on a vacation since 2020. So I'm very excited to go and explore a new part of the world that I've never been to. And I also have some travel coming up for work, and I have some friends coming down next month as well. So most of July is going to be taken up by other things, which is why I'm pushing so hard to finish Scarlett before then. I know I'm running out of time, unfortunately, so I don't think I'm going to get it done before all of my vacations, or before all of my stuff in July. But so I will not have an update for most of July, but I do have some videos lined up that I'm going to have scheduled to post. So I'll have the walkthrough of the bodice build for the green velvet dress. I'll have the crinoline video up, and I'll have the skirt video up, and if I get through the bodice for the over part of the dress, then I will also have that up as well as a petticoat video. So I've got several lined up. I don't know how many weeks. I should have looked to see how many weeks I need to cover for. So I have 4 to 5 videos that I'll have ready to go and scheduled so that you don't miss out on me. But yeah, so that is all I have for you today. If you like this video, you like my content, make sure to hit the like button, and make sure to subscribe for other content. I'm hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we are making progress. So I still need to figure out like what I want to do if I hit 1,000. I've seen people do things like a crochet snake, where every milestone they would like crochet a certain color. So I'm gonna try and think of something like that. Maybe I'll make like a skirt or something, like a peasant skirt that has multiple tiers for every milestone. So I want to figure something out like that is like something decorative that I can keep around and keep adding to as we grow. So I don't know, I'll have to think of that. If you have any ideas, pop them down in the comments below. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!